Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and back for another video. In today's video, we're going to be discussing knotless braids versus box braids, which one's better, which one lasts longer. As you can see, I do have a pair of braids in my head right now. These are knotless braids and they are on their last leg, honey. So before I take these out, I wanted to get this video out and kind of figure out the answer to these questions on my own. Now, box braids have been around for years. This is like one of the first protective styles with extensions that I ever did, I ever got done, and love them. I grew up seeing them. This is like an OG style. But because of the installation method of a box braid, there does seem to be some kind of tension on people's scalps and breakage and things of that nature depending on the braider. So with a traditional box braid, you're adding one piece of extension hair to your real hair, and because of the way you braid it into your real hair, there tends to be a knot at the top. So lately, in these past few years, there's been a phenomenon of knotless box braids. And like the title says, these braids were made without that knot. So instead of just starting your hair with the extension and just continuously just braiding, knotless braids had your real hair braided a few inches down or a few centimeters down, and then you would begin adding in the extension hair within the braid. I'm sure I'll have some examples that can, explain better than what I'm saying. Now, because of this new method, the knotless braid method, it has less tension on your scalp and you're able to move your braids, style them however you want the day of you getting your braids done. Box braids, because they were so tight on your scalp, depending on the braider, you couldn't really style it at all. I remember getting box braids and I always knew like the first 3 to 4 days, they were just gonna be down. They weren't going up, they weren't going in a pony. They were just gonna be down because the tension was so tight. I wouldn't completely throw away traditional box braids. There are still some benefits and some pros to getting traditional box braids. For example, one pro of getting traditional box braids is the length of time and the price. Because of the phenomenon of knotless braids, they are more expensive. For example, I live in the DMV area, and if you want to get medium knotless braids down to your waist, on a good day, those could be $250 to $275, right? But if you want traditional box braids, waist length, the medium size, those can run about $180 to $200. So there is quite a price difference. Another reason for this price difference, I like to think, is because of the length of time it takes to install these styles. Box braids take a shorter time usually than knotless braids. I had to find this out on my own. I didn't know that was a thing when I got my knotless braids done for the first time. They took, if not the same amount of time as box braids, a little bit more extra time. This is due to the methods, right? You have the traditional box braids where you just take one strand of the synthetic Kanekalon hair and you just get to work and start braiding. Versus knotless, you have to braid your own hair down a little bit, then grab small pieces and add them into your braid. And you have to do that for every single braid on your head. So depending on the size and the length and all that, you're looking at traditional box braids being done way quicker and way faster than your knotless braids. So which one is better for you? Which one will last longer? Well, I think that can be answered upon 3 different criteria. You have your hair type, your lifestyle, and essentially just your personal preference. So for an example, I'm an active girly, okay? I'm an active girly with fine natural hair. I have a thinner texture type of hair. Things can slip easily. Because I'm an active girly, I'm in the gym, let's say 3 to 4 times a week. I have installed knotless braids and I've had box braids. I've worked out with both of these styles before, and hands down, the longest lasting braids were, of course, the traditional box braids. Because my hair was left out in the knotless braids, I sweat in my scalp, there's friction, there's movement. Your girl is active, okay? Because of that, knotless braids did not last as long on me. And when I say last, I'm talking about the neatness of the braid, the frizziness of the braid, and just the overall health of the braid, right? Knotless braids do not last long on me. On top of the fact I have fine textured hair, they're slipping, they're not gonna hold their grip, they're gonna come down and fall apart. I've experienced with this set that the quicker I add in hair with my knotless method, the longer they last. So there's not too much of my hair left out in this installation, but they're still frizzing up, they're still getting pretty bad on their own. This is actually a redo. I ended up redoing the front and the middle section within 2 weeks, which versus traditional box braids, I would go a month without even having to touch them up. So That's just something to consider. Now, if you're not an active girly and you're more concerned about scalp health and growing your hair and things like that, I would of course opt for knotless braids. Knotless braids do not have as much tension on your scalp as the traditional box braids. Because of the way they're installed, again, leaving some of your hair out, they're not really tightly woven onto your scalp, causing breakage and tension and soreness. Versus box braids, depending on the braider, can be really too tight. Can't style your hair any type of way. It's uncomfortable, right? So if you're more worried about scalp health and things of that nature, I would opt for the knotless box braids. Now, if you're on a budget and you know how to take care of your hair, then I would opt for the box braids. I think box braids still work. They're still functional. There's ways to not make the knot so obnoxious on box braids. I think they're really great. If I were to go on vacation, I would actually have to sit and think about if I would rather get box braids or knotless, because I feel like box braids would last longer in water than knotless because none of my hair is out. All my hair is tucked away. I don't have to worry about anything, right? So those are just some things to consider. But if you're on a budget, traditional box braids, that's my vote. So in conclusion, do knotless braids last longer than box braids? Which ones are better? Is up to you individually in those 3 criteria that I gave you. For me, box braids last way longer on my hair, but because I like the look of knotless braids and I like the, less tension on my scalp, I keep getting the knotless braids. And I even just taught myself how to do knotless braids because I gotta touch them up more often because they're frizzing up way quicker than the traditional box braids. So that's the life choice that I made. So I hope this video helped you guys decide between box braids or knotless box braids for your next style. Let me know down below which one you prefer and why. And yeah, give this video a like if you found it helpful. Make sure you subscribe if you like hair and fitness content. That's what your girl is all about on this channel, and I would love to have you join. Leave down below a shamrock. Is that what it's called? A clover? The little March symbol? If you made it this far, I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!